Yeah, I'm using a emitter follower for a speed control for a DC motor, and found oscillation issues there too.
Yeah. No, we bought a large quantity of those 150Ps for a reasonable price. I'm trying to remember how much I spent, but it doesn't matter. But yeah, so I had bags of over 100 that I was giving away to everybody. They're really neat. I've used them for lots of stuff. You can make them very sensitive by biasing them on. Doesn't take much bias, just a few microamps can bias them on and make them fairly sensitive. But if you want to just use them as a regular old rectifier, they'll do that job as well. All right, let's move on down. Everybody's being patient. Thank you. Tom, AJ6TP. Very good, Tom. We'll have to take a look at that up converter. That sounds neat. Let's see if Gary might be with us this morning, WA7BIP. Let's go to Don, K6DLP.
Good morning, everybody. K6DLP here checking in. Tom, FYI, you are an S4 to S5 compared to Will, who is a good 20 over, and John is almost pegging the needle. John's about 30 over. So there's your S meter reading. Anyway, what am I doing today? I'm still working on the truck. I finally got my cell last Thursday. I got 5 holes drilled in it, 5 antennas put on. Now I got to find my ball mount that I took off to Colorado. I have no idea where I put it. One of those things. Probably buried in a deep box somewhere, and I'll have to probably buy another one, and as soon as I do, I know it'll show up. Been doing some more research on my Delta loop. The one here at the house, I might change the one here at the house. Instead of using the 75 ohm quarter-wave to match it to a perfect 1-to-1, I've been reading up a lot with putting a 4-to-1 and getting much better multi-band operation out of it, and I like that idea. So that's probably what's going to end up on Sunset, is one of those. I got the cores, the ferrite cores, so I'll be making the 4-to-1 balancer pretty quick. Other than that, that's about it. Pick it up there, Will. K6DLP. Go ahead. we're the highest power up. Oh, no, we're not that one. Turned down the wrong radio there. We're the highest power on Santiago. That particular antenna we're listening to, or is listening to you, is approximately 30 feet in the air, down at the end of a horizontal. There's nothing in its way looking north, south, or pretty much west. East, west, and north. South of this huge tower, but there's nobody off the ocean anymore. I will try and look up your address later and do a plot and see if you may be behind one of those hills antennas. Is my best guess. It's DLP, handing it back to net control.
Okay, well, your audio is sounding good through the remote there, Tom, so there's no problem. Even the S3 or S4 has got good signal, so everybody's hearing you. Let's go to Gary, W6RYNO.
Okay, Gary, W6RYO here. I had to take a second to look at my name badge, see if that's really me, but I think it is, so don't have a whole lot more to say about that part of it. Let's see. Not much going on. Once again, another lazy Sunday. Just taking it easy here a little bit and trying to catch up on some stuff, but other than that, let me see. Not really working on many projects right now. I don't know, cleanup stuff more than anything. So, yeah, and interesting. Emitter followers I've always found very intriguing. They're a fun circuit, but yeah, I can understand you getting feedback from it. Let's see. Gary, I can never remember Gary's call. Our new ham that was the Navy SEAL. John will care more about this, but they did the temporary pump and it was back and it helped. So I think the 13th, January 13th, he's going in for the full surgery and they're going to put a pump in his back. He's got a lot of titanium and half his spine is titanium. And he's probably listening out there at this point. But anyway, so he's sounds real good on that news that he'll be up and around. And nothing else worth talking about. Really isn't. So everybody have a great day, and I will be around. I think I'll just plant my butt in the chair today and watch some Dr. Becky or something. I haven't caught up on some science stuff lately. So. Anyway, that's it from northern Alta Loma up against the mountains. I think John's slightly more up against than I am, but not by too much. So he's got me beat a little bit. All right, that's enough rambling for me. AA6DD and the illustrious group, W6R Oil.
All right, thank you, Gary. Let's see if Tim is with us, K6YYL. Okay, Kim. Well, the 160 is a wonderful number, but we still have to have a disturbance with higher K index and A index to get 6 to pop open. And also the days are getting longer now, so if we were in February and March and April and we had those numbers, those 6 would probably be popping. But days are not quite long enough and open enough, so it's threatening. I think some of the Fox Tango 8 has been working some stuff. I see it every so often, but I can't read, I don't read it, so I don't know who's working what on Fox Tango 8. But, it's a tease every day. Every day I keep getting up early in the morning and turning it on and seeing when signals can be heard on 10 meters before sunrise. And if you can hear signals before sunrise on 10 meters, then there becomes a possibility by 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock that day it can go all the way to 6. So we just have to keep monitoring, and as the great 6-meter operator YYL has always said, get out there and make noise. Go ahead. Okay, thank you for all that, Kim. Let's see if Rich might be with us, W6BRC. Good morning, John, W7RSO. How about Dana, N7UFT? John, AA6RF. Steve, WQ6S. Chris, KF6LEX. Okay, yeah, no, that's a good radio, and has a lot of, it does a lot of things for the money. So congratulations. Did you actually buy a brand new one, or is this a used one? Oh, he didn't come back. Okay. All right, let's go to John, KU6X.
Golly, gee, feedback. Yeah, John, KU6X here, Upland. Well, that's very good. Good to hear about this Gary, about the other Gary, our new Gary. They put in this thing so they could adjust. He's on tremendous pain medications, and they put something in so they could tweak, I don't know, half a dozen different pain medications to find out which ones work the best. I guess hopefully that's what we're talking about there. Really nice guy. Got lots of interesting stories about being in the thick of battles and stuff. Looking at the 1 in 60p, some controversy when you look on the nets. Apparently, some of those were Shakti diodes. Other ones are they're germanium diodes. So I don't remember what the whole deal was. Apparently, some probably Chinese were sticking in some Shakti diodes under the guise of these germanium diodes, but I'm not sure about that. Jim, very good on your TO3 driver. It's just a shame you have to put in a solid state thing in that wonderful old car radio. But I guess it's one of those things with the 12-volt tubes, I'm assuming also. Let's see here. I had a question for Don. I was looking at some antenna mounts, different kind of antenna mounts and stuff. It looked like kind of tricky things for attaching things to poles and so on, and I found this company. But the price of this stuff was really, really high for something fairly simple. It looked like antenna mounts were up in the $600 or $800. I wonder if only the commercial people buy those things. That's the real question. And lastly, I've been reading, just getting interested in some of the World War II history at the end of the war and before the war. And I probably mentioned this before, but there was an organization here in California who was convinced that ham radio was going to live on during World War II. So very interesting. And then how long it took to get back on the air after the war was over. But that's enough of that. Anyway, AA6TD, KU6X.
KU6X, AA6TD. Is there any lateness or visitor check-ins out there? Call signs, please. Okay, well, I'll give a little story here. I'll give Jim a chance to get back to the radio. R.L. Drake, this is 1975, right, January at the Amateur Radio Convention in Las Vegas, which used to be a big rock convention there. And we went for quite a few years. We went from about 1967 all the way to about 1977 when it finally went away. But the convention was really big, as much as all the different ham manufacturers would come there, and the actual people who ran the companies would come. And so they could have a nice Las Vegas visit and write it off as advertising, of course, which is what I'm sure they all did. Anyway, I'm running around there and I'm looking at all the different new radios. And Kenwood shows their 820, the TS-820, the TS-520 had been very, very popular all through the early 70s. Were number one selling radios, so it took over the place of Swan. Swan 350s and 500s had been the number one HF selling radio. And but then the Kenwood 520 imported by initially Henry Radio imported, not Kenwood. Kenwood didn't do the original import. It was actually Henry Radio started that. And so there was the 820 over there, which had a James Millen VFO type knob with KC readout, which was quite earth-shaking, and also did have an optional visual readout that could be put in above it with a blue readout up there with a little higher voltage type 2 readouts that they had back in those days. Anyway, R.L. Drake was there in a big way. They had engineers and salesmen and just everybody, because I was very young at the time. And so I go over and look at the Drake stuff, and it was, they were the R4C and the T4XC and the TR4C and all that was what they were showing. And this one guy asked me, one of the salesmen, I don't know if he was an engineer or not a salesman, he asked me, well, what do you think of the Kenwood over there? And I said, well, it's nice, but it's just ham band only. That's ridiculous. Today, you use a high IF at 45 megs and a synthesizer. You can easily cover all of HF just with low-pass filters. And turns out the guy was apparently responsible for the foreign sales, mainly commercial sales for Drake. And he says, wait a second. And he called all these other guys over there, and he said, repeat what you said. So I said, okay. I said, the problem with the Kingwood over there is there's not general coverage. You should make a transceiver with a high IF. The modern synthesizers can do it without any problem. 45 megs or something. And then use low-pass filters and cover all of HF. And it should be 100% duty cycle for running RTTY type modes, digital modes. And so then I asked him, well, what are you working on for VHF? So, well, we're working on a 2-meter radio. I said, well, there's no reason for a 2-meter radio. What I would like to see is something that would start out as basically a 10-meter radio with 2 VFOs built in, and then transverter modules that you could add 6 meters and 2 meters and 220 and 432 to it. And so you'd have this one transceiver that cover all these VHF bands, and you had 2 VFOs where you could do satellite work. It would be wonderful. Well, they went away. And what they produced was the TR7, which was a huge seller throughout the world. Did 100% duty cycle with the power supply and the radio. And they never really could make enough of them. Big success. Sold it to, embassies all over the world and foreign governments and everybody because of its RTTY capacity and all the frequencies that it would cover. And then they brought out the UV3. The UV3 was an FM-only transceiver that had modules that put it on 220 and 440. And it was $1,000 back then, which was a lot of money. Actually started out more than $1,000. They were able to drop it after they get so many orders and so much production. They could make it cheaper than they ever dreamed they could. So they dropped and then they made a version that was dual band for foreign export. They made one that was 2 meters and 440. And they sold that into Japan. And Japan it went berserk in Japan. They could not make enough of them. The Japanese never made a dual band radio. That captured the market in Japan, and after that, the Japanese, to compete against the Drake, had to make dual band radios, 2 meter 440, 2 meter 440. And that's the history of all that. Anyway, any comments on that, John? And then we'll see if Jim is back. KU6X, AA650D.
Yeah, well, I was not active in ham radio, I guess, at that time too much. Probably working. But that's fascinating. I didn't realize all that stuff between Drake and the Japanese. It's a very interesting story. I remember the TS-820 coming out, and there was the 4 of us who used to go on field day every year, and one of the guys who lived up on Napomo would bring down his 820, and that was his pride and joy. He had that in a padded box and pull it out for our field day use, and It was a nice radio to use, as I recall. But that was about my only exposure to that stuff at that particular time. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, they eventually made an S version or something where they put in the work bands. But it was a good radio. No doubt about it. It was an improvement over the 520, definitely. Okay, let's see if Jim is back. WA6YLS.
Wasn't that the 830?
Yes. Jim, WA6YLS.
I'm here. Yeah, I can remember that stuff quite well.
Okay, Jim. Yeah, well, I think it's going to be a mixed bag. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. Let's see if Tom has taken off yet. AJ6TT. Tom took off. Jim, was it something, circuit, emitter follower thing you wanted to comment on, or can you quite remember? We'll get you when we go back around.
Yeah, I'll try to think of it. I won't say any more about that.
Okay, we'll continue on then. Let's go to Don, K60LP.
Yeah. All righty then. John, yeah. Hardware is expensive, but I guess it depends on what you're trying to do. It sounds to me like you're trying to put up a cellular network. A pipe, like a feeding 46, should only be about, well, I'm going to guess now, maybe $100. And that's only because, they can get more because everybody else is getting more. So if you need something specifically, let me know and I'll see if I can hunt it down. I got crossover plates and all kinds of stuff. K6BLP. That's it for me.
Thanks, Don.
Yep.
Okay, Don. I do want to comment on the Delta antenna. It's become very, very popular recently. It's a big almost a hula hoop craze out there. And yeah, what most of them are doing is a full wave delta, where they have two poles. They're holding a flat section straight up and then come down to a V at the bottom. And then they're feeding it at the V with the bottom with a 4-to-1 balance. If it's a full wave loop, it will match the same impedance at every third harmonic. So you make a 40-meter one, it'll work on 15 meters. Or if you make a 17-meter one, it'll work on 6 meters, which is one that I think I want to build. I think I want to build one. And usually when people do A-B comparisons of this antenna, it outperforms a lot of other antennas, mainly because the high current is at the top and the bottom. And so most of the antennas are not that high they compare it against. So when you compare it against something, you know, like I say, you've got high current at the bottom, but you have high current at that highest horizontal area is just full of high current in it. You know, even if you only have 30-foot poles that you're coming down to a V at the bottom, your high current point is sitting at 30 feet off the ground, and that's going to work quite well. So, any other comments on that, Don? Go ahead.
Well, if it's got a lot of high current down at the bottom, I guess what you're telling me is I should build the balance out of 30-gauge wire wrap wire?
Yeah. Probably the auto transformer is the best way to do that, in my opinion. You just have a very high mu inductor and, you know, maybe a dozen turns on there, depends on which band, and center tap it. And run the shield to the center tap and the hot point to either side. And so then then you don't have to worry about inductive coupling to another coil. It's all the one coil. And then your shield is sitting at 0 voltage point on the antenna. So that's kind of how I'm trying. I think I was going to try to build mine. Go ahead.
I was just teasing about the 30-gauge wire wrap wire. I have some old birth scopes that was using lighting systems. I believe there's a ton of wire in it. And I believe they're, I want to say 16 gauge. They might be 14. Now I have to go look now. 16 or 14. So my only problem is making sure I get enough turns into balance to accommodate 4-to-1 ratio. But okay, that sounds cool. Yeah, you'll have to see the cost on that one. That sounds interesting.
Yeah. Well, you can make it so you hold it up from the bottom. You know, it's 17 meters. It's still pretty big, but you could make it hold up from the bottom, which is what I might do. Or maybe I'll just start off with just an easy one and make a 6-meter one, and then it would work on 6 meters and 2 meters. That'd be kind of neat. Horizontally polarized. You know, it doesn't look horizontal, and it'd be easy to carry around and port over. The more I think about that, the more I think that might be kind of neat. And there you could just do an open air balance, not even put ferrite on it. Anyway, any comments? We'll move on.
Well, I've been reading a lot on that, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the feed point at the bottom. I'm going to hang it vertically polarized. Well, the length of the wire is vertically polarized. I don't know radiation I'm going to get out of that. I think it should still be vertical. But I can hang that at an angle. Let's see, I forget where my tie point is. It's about 80 feet. Maybe, it's not 100, so it's about 80 feet up the tower. And then I can go easily a couple hundred feet away from that and tie it closer to the ground to support the thing. And then the balance speed line will hang down to the bottom close to the ground. It won't be that much. It'll be more than probably 20 feet off the ground, pretty easily, I think. And then just feed it with the RGA, and that should work really well.
Okay, well, it's going to be an interesting experiment in any case. All right, we'll go to Gary, W6RYO.
Okay, I'm still here. Got to rush a little bit, though. You know, I still need to get another cup of coffee in and my morning nap before lunch. So, you know, getting kind of pressured for time. Interesting little thing. May care, may not. Don, if you remember, I called you about some frequencies. And my daughter and her family are out at the sand dunes now out by Baker area and riding dune buggies and stuff. And they were talking about radios. And I said, well, let me investigate, you know, where get some of the cheapies and see where we can put them and that kind of stuff. So my grandson got a handheld for Christmas. They bought him one. And I was really kind of amazed. There's an outfit that sells them already programmed. And, you know, they're based on the Bofong type layout, although they don't have a full touchstone pad. They just, you know, up, down, minimum of buttons. And they're all pre-programmed. They got a pre-program with all these groups. And apparently these groups go out and buy a frequency, and they're all in the 151 to 154 range. So that all that shows up on his display is like WX-Man and Yoko and, you know, all these 5, 6-letter names. I think they're mostly 5. And apparently these groups go out and buy or register. I'm not quite sure how they get it, but they get a frequency in that range. So, you know, they just get out there and they say, oh, we're with group XYZ. They flip it over onto the XYZ. And they're, like I said, they're all pretty much between 151 and 154. So I never even realized all that was going on, but apparently, you know, you get an off-road group and you can register and you just check who's there and what channel they're on. It's really kind of interesting. So they even got mobile rigs mounted in their dune buggy and that kind of stuff. And like I say, my grandson got an HT, so you know, I did a little research before I had to give it back to him before they left, and you know, then found out, looking on the internet, I found where this stuff was, and they're all, you know, in the 150. But I just found that rather interesting. You know, I guess it's pretty easy to get a frequency registered like that. So you'd know more about that when I was gone, but I didn't even know that stuff was going on. So you just get them all pre-programmed with all the different channels, and they have no idea where they are. They just look at the display, and his came programmed with 33 different groups. So just very interesting on what's going on the RF band and high band stuff. So that's about it. You know, now that I know where they are, they get like $250, a couple $100 for the radios, although they do DMR also. So, well, I could probably, you know, program one up, others up if you need them. So anyway, that's it for me. Just going to, like I say, go get my second cup of coffee. Got to get that in before my morning nap. So anyway, everybody enjoy and have a great year. It's either going to be a great year or it's all going to end. We never quite know, but oh well. If you look on a calendar, looking at the first day of 2025, it's on a Wednesday. So the first 3 days of 2025 are WTF. Make what you want out of that. AA6DD and the Smiling Group, have a great year, W6RY.
Hey, Gary, they got from the manufacturer has a radio just like probably what you're describing, and it's pretty neat. You bring up one radio, and then everybody else in the group say they want to be on group one. They put the radio first time. One radio tells everybody else where to be. Pretty amazing stuff. And I had an opportunity to buy a bunch of those. I didn't do it. But you can get those for up to 25 cents a radio. Basic to CLB.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah, no, that 150 to 1 meg or so. It's been there forever. We used it in construction work all the way back in the 60s, right, Don?
Yep, we sure did. Good old 150, 165.
Okay, let's see if Kim is still with us. K6YYL. No, we now go to Chris, KF6LEX. Okay, Chris, well, we're glad you're radioed up and ready for the new year. We've been missing you here on the net. Now let's go to John to tie the ribbons, and then we'll go to Jim to see if he remembers what he wanted to say. KU6X.
All right, everybody. Well, quite interesting. And I'd like to talk to Gary about stuff, but we've got another blackout Wednesday morning on our breakfast. We've missed last Wednesday morning and because of Christmas, and we're going to miss this next Wednesday morning because of New Year's Day. And I won't mention that it's my birthday, so anyway, that's enough. AA60DKU6X.
Well, happy birthday, John. I'm glad you made another one. Let's see if Jim has anything he wants to comment, and then we'll clear the net. WA6YOS, AA630D. Is there any comments, questions, last-minute check-ins, relays, anything from anybody? Call signs, please. Hearing none, thank you for checking in. We had a good time on the net. Everybody have a wonderful week, and we'll catch you next year. AA650D, QSY, 50.300 FM, and squelching it up.